All right, guys, here we are once more, and next installment on our character creation. Now we're gonna move on to texturing the skin. One thing to do to start this is, like always, duplicate our figure, work on the new one. We're going to raise the actual resolution on this, because even though I am at 4 right now, I can already see here that this is too low. If I can see these polygons, that means it's too low, because I'm going to need to have really high resolution maps. So I'm probably going to have to upsize this again. I guess there's a layer on, so let's take care of that layer. Let's see, what is it that thing, what was that for? Oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Okay, so let's bake that up. We're going to use layers again today for this, so we're gonna divide. Get this to 5. I think that's gonna give us like around almost 20 million. Yep, 19,767. And this still may be not enough. We're gonna try this. So best thing to do is to make a layer and work on that layer. And the first thing that I do is with the Damien standard, I want to see how this is going to work. Sometimes when you're pressing keys, you press the wrong key, and I just press C. C is going to give you whatever color. It's going to apply to the mesh whatever color you're hovering over. So for example, if I'm hovering over C, right over here, see how I changed it to pink. If I hover over this, it's going to give me a gray, and I don't want that. So now why doesn't it change on the skin is because I already have the skin. I filled the object, or basically the skin, with a color, so that's why it won't change when I do that. But the eyes have not, so that's the reason why that's happening. Okay, so what's next? Like I said, I was going to try this brush. One thing, right now we're on dynamic, and that brush is way too big for what we want at this point. We want something that we can actually go even smaller than that, so we're gonna have to go, unfortunately, to non-dynamic and see how that gets really tiny. Unfortunately, with this one, you got to be aware that the size of your stroke is going to change according to how far your mesh is, how zoom in or out it is. So if you zoom out, the bigger it will be, as you can tell. If you zoom in, the smaller it will get. So you got to keep that in mind when doing this, and so you're not creating a ton of different strokes. Okay, so that's a little strong, so let's go down in intensity, like around 8. That's much better. Let's see what our stroke is. Lazy mouse. I want this 0.05 is fine. Maybe 0.002 will do even better. A little bit of lazy mouse won't hurt. There you go. I think that is right. Let's see how it looks right over here. Okay, for now this will work. This type of resolution will work. It's a little jaggedy. So that's something that you gotta try and see what you like. I almost feel like I want to add some more geometry to the eyes. Oh my goodness. Let's see how the mouth is doing. Peter's a little slow today. Okay, I think it will work for now. I have these ones already, these brushes, which I call the standard for detail. And they already come preloaded with the drag rect, which is, you know, you have several different types of applicators for the strokes. In this case, I have the drag rect on this one. I'm going to change, well, let's try this, see what happens. This is for a leathery kind of stroke. And it seems a little chunky still. The problem is that if I multiply this again, if I give it another level, this is going to take me to somewhere around 80 million polygons, and that is just definitely way too much, and my computer will just not deal. I mean, I have a lot of memory, but I don't have that much memory, so that's just not it's not an option. So I am going to delete this. Before, one thing that you always got to keep in mind, and I already talked to you guys about this in class, but for those of you who were not in class, when you create a layer and you want to either delete it or you want to bake it, you have to turn off the recording. So you do this by hitting this little tab right over here, and you can turn it on like this again by hitting the record button, but you cannot turn it off by hitting on it. So you always are going to have to do it by doing this. So I'm going to delete it because I'm not going to need it, and I am going to upsize this area. And how I'm going to do this is by masking. Mask this area. Theoretically, I could just mask again the entire head. Let's see how. I already had bigger ones here and not so much here in the face. And it did a good job when it was doing that. So Shift F. Let's see how that works. And probably the best thing to do is to use this one. Yeah, I'm going to do all of this area. So I'm going to use the entire face. I'm just going to do this. Probably not the ears because, well, I don't know, maybe those ones do have a lot. This is a trial and error kind of thing. I don't want to put too much on the ears. Let me see how, are they chunky or not? Yeah, they probably could use it. Let's do that. And sort of the forehead right over here. A little bit higher than that. We don't need that much for the head, and we may need some more subdivisions for the hands. Let's see. See the hands. I'm not gonna do the feet. Or should I? I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, like they could use some. So let's upsize these ones too. Okay, so what's going to happen is I am going to reverse this. Oh, come on. Alright. And maybe I should smooth it out. There you go. Now bring it back to 5. That's nice and smooth. There you go. And what we're going to do, I'm going to quick save it because I don't want to lose this that I already did. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide. Oh, so I got to go to the low subdivision. Okay, and divide. Oh, come on. So it's not going to want to do this, huh? Preferences, import, export. Let me stop the recording because this is not going to happen to all of you guys. So, all right. So you guys can tell here. I have here the preferences, and under memory, I upsized my maximum poly per mesh to 80 million. It warns that it may crash on you, and so save often. I'm gonna quick save again. Again, my computer is good, but it's not as nice as the ones in the that's cool. And you guys may not have to do this over there, but if you have a computer that is not the most modern thing in the world or doesn't have enough memory, then this may become an issue. And you can tell it's taking forever to save this. This may be huge. I don't know if I'm gonna like this or if I'm just gonna. Yep, that's exactly what happened. It's too big. It's not gonna do it. Yeah, and it's having trouble even moving. I can't get it to move. Okay, we're just gonna have to do without bumping it to such a high degree. Alright, so as you guys could tell right there, it didn't quite work. I'm having to restart and basically start where we were. I'm going to duplicate again and use this one. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with that. I'm gonna go back and go into unclick dynamic, and I'm just gonna have to deal with the kind of resolution that I have. Just deal with that. Now there's another way to work around that, and that is with let's see, where is it at? Geometry HD, and that just grabs a portion of your figure and allows you to work on that. Kind of slows the workflow, and I'm not sure I like it that much. I worked with it. You guys can try it. You just go into divide HD, and it just, wherever you have your cursor on, is going to divide that area. My problem with it is that sometimes it corrupts the file, and you lose all your work, and that's why I don't like using it that much. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we're just gonna work with, I'm gonna upsize my subdivisions, and I'm just gonna work with 19 million. Or I guess what I could do is try again and just subdivide my face right now. Now that I'm at a lower. Oh, that's right, I gotta take that layer off and delete it. Oh no, gotta apply it first. Bake it. That's it. Okay. Because we don't need all of that resolution in the body. Yeah, that one's fine. So I'm just going to apply this to the face. To the neck. Okay, like that. And I'm going to apply to the hands and to the feet. And we're going to go back down to 1. And we're going to subdivide that divide. And before I do that, I have to reverse this. So now we're going to be able to divide. Oh, don't tell me you're going to crash again. Oh, they did it. So now we're at 15 million. A little bit more manageable. Let's see. Yeah, and it created some ugly geometry there, but since we're not going to work with that area, it won't matter. Yeah, that's much better. This is still going to be low, but it'll do. Okay, let's work on this. The one thing that you guys don't want to do is when you start texturing the face, you don't want to use symmetry when you're getting close to the middle of it. You can use symmetry on the sides and close to this area, but once you start getting towards the middle of it, you want to turn it off. And the key here is going to, for you to remember to turn it on and off once you start working on the side again. It happens. Believe me, you'll run through that problem and you're not going to be happy. But let's see how it goes. Okay, I want to put a little bit more emphasis on this. I want to lower this intensity. And once again, I have lost my ability to have some stroke because we're gonna have to do it again. Lazy mouse 0.002, and somewhere around here is good. Okay. Oh, too strong. Yeah, lazy mouse makes the intensity a lot stronger. And that's too strong. I gotta take the intensity down. Sometimes I just feel like this is even still too not smooth enough. Let's see if I can fix that. I give it a smooth there. I'm creating some lines. Damien Standard is good for that. Actually, gonna create. Good to start right over here. Do some of these. And there's many techniques on how to do this. Many different brushes that you can use. Damien standard is a really good choice for this stuff. You can also use the standard. Actually, I usually use this one, Line Styles brush is one that I created. It's based on the standard brush, but it uses this alpha. And let's see if it's gonna work. Oh, it's because it's in RGB. So proceed add. Okay. And see, this is still too chunky. I can already tell because there's a ton of polygons that you can see. That's good for creating some of these. You want to create some wrinkles on these areas, but the wrinkles also, you know, go up. They just don't. Not all of them dig into the skin. Some of them just, you know, you can put them like that. And maybe this guy's a little too strong for that. That's a good one. Steps 0.002. Okay. This one is also good for creating this area over here. We have some sort of what do you call it? It's a line, demarcation line right on the eye, right where the eyelashes grow. And it's not super strong, so I can go ahead and do this huge. It's something like that. Let me do this again. Ugh. I don't like that. And a little bit of softening. And we have that on top also. I'm going to use this one to push this, actually push it a little more. Smooth it out. And this is with the Alt key. So kind of pushing in. There you go. Try this once again. Just want to make it really strong. And I just pushed one again to repeat that stroke. Oh, come on. There you go. That's good. I like that one. So we're going to have something similar on the top. So I'm pushing Alt for that, and I'm just letting it, there you go. Now with the Damien standard, I'm going to, with a large size and a low intensity, and Alt, I'm going to make this a little bit sharper. Now I understand that in reality that's not that sharp, not that sharp. You know, there's nothing that sharp in the human body. But just to kind of give it an edge. There you go. Like that, I like that. We want to bring this down again. And reinforce this line. Okay. I might want to grab a little bit of smoothing also, and just smooth it out a little bit more. Now the Damien standard brush works well for some fine lines and all this, but I don't use it for everything. There are certain things that are better done with this normal one. Certain wrinkles look better. And I'm saying this guy is in his late 30s, early 40s, so you know he's starting to have a little bit of how do you call it, expression lines. He's gonna have some right over here. Actually, let me put this in C sub because I want to use that mostly for this. And have some expression lines right over here. And these lines are usually crisscross, not necessarily straight.
Put your hands together for me.
I'm using a really light touch on this. Changing it to Damien standard. You know what? I forgot to use a layer for this, and I'm gonna regret it. I'm gonna turn one on right now, just in case. All of this is already baked. There's nothing I can do about what I already did. It's already baked in. It's already sculpted. I was gonna do that. Now, for those of you who were not in the class, there's ways to control the pressure on the pen, and that is by going to the smooth. No, that's not it. Where's it at? Tablet pressure. Right now it's with global settings. I take that off, and if you want to have a stroke that it fades towards the ends, a good way of doing that is by going into size. Actually going to use, I'm not going to bother with that one. I'm going to actually use this line style brush, and I'm going to deal with those ones. So you go like that, and you move like this. So that's size, and that helps you fade it away. And you can also use the C intensity. So that, see how it already is so light, so you're probably gonna have to bump up the intensity on it to make it work. But that helps you have a fade effect towards the ends. I really like that. Now a problem with this is that at some point it becomes ineffective, and you have to like either restart ZBrush or reinstall the brush to make it work. That is one of those details. Now you have fine lines right over here. Maybe I'm going to need a little bit more intensity, maybe a little bit more size to get this to work. And everyone's different when it comes to this. Not everybody has got the same wrinkles, obviously. So that's something that you're just gonna have to work. Hopefully look at your face in the mirror. That's a good way of knowing where those little fine lines are. Another good thing to do is to smooth brush modifiers. You can actually alter the brush size for your for the smooth brush. So let's say you have it at that size. If you want to go a little bit smaller, so every time that you hit your smooth brush, the actual brush gets smaller, just in case you just want to work on one particular area or one single wrinkle and not affect the other ones around it. I'm not going to use that for now, but it may be coming in handy later on. Now, like I was explaining to some of you guys in class, wrinkles kind of emanate one from another and they crisscross each other, especially in these types of areas, and they create what I call a cell. So they kind of like cross on over each other and they create little cells of flesh. Hard to describe, you just have to kind of show it and see it for yourself. So I'm not going to create too many wrinkles on this guy. I just want to show you guys, I mean, this is a part of the sculpt that can literally take forever, because you can just lose yourself creating wrinkles and imperfections and all of that. And definitely we don't have 8 hours of video here. It will never get encoded. So I just encourage you guys to do your own work, follow these things that I'm doing, and take it as far as you want. Obviously, we have a time constraints, so but later on, if you guys want to work on it and keep adding textures and wrinkles and all that, go for it. And it will make it look so much better. I guess in a lot of these things are just subtle. They're not strong, as you can see. I mean, from far side, you would never be able to tell that. It's just, but they do add up. Like I was telling the folks, some of you guys in class, ZBrush already comes equipped with a lot of good alphas. You can create your own, and sometimes that gives you a little bit of variation, and you may create some really spectacular ones, and if you want to use that, hey, by all means do it. But in my experience, ZBrush already comes with a set of brushes that work pretty damn well for creating skin, so there's really no need to reinvent the wheel unless you necessarily want to create your own and you're into creating alphas and all that. Then cool, go for it. It's not a bad idea. Now, some of us, like me, we have really deep already furrows right here. So you can create those ones, but those ones are more deeper and they're bigger already. So that is something that we would have to go down in resolution. I mean, right over here in resolution. Even lower than that, probably. And I'm going to use They mean standard for that. It's telling me that I need to turn this on. Of course, it has to be all the way to the top. Have to bring it up. Have to do this. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna turn it off, and I'm just gonna turn it off altogether. There you go. And I'm gonna go into 2 or 1. And I'm not going to use symmetry for this. That's a very big no-no. That would be a big, big, big mistake. And sometimes all you just need, let's turn this RGB, a little bit of clay, and you know, the more uneven it is, the better, because that's the part right in the middle of the face, and you definitely don't want to have something that is, needless to say, symmetrical. That would be just completely weird. A little too strong. Like you saw me doing there, you can work on when you have layers, you can work off the layers, but you have to turn them off. Altogether, and that will be the only way that you will be able to do something with it. I'm going to add a little bit to this side. And keep in mind that usually our muscles punched right over here, this corrugator muscle tends to go and pull in this direction, for example. So you're gonna have a lot of striations, not striations, but wrinkles that follow this, just like that. And this is where you can create a lot of symmetry already. I don't usually like to get into asymmetry that quick, but in some instances, like for example this, it's a good idea to start working it in. Now I just hope that I don't have to go and do some resim. That would just completely ruin everything that I'm doing. Sometimes that's a really good way of creating wrinkles. Just do that. Do that. And give it a little smooth. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to symmetry. Let's bring this back up to 4. And let's actually, do we want that? Is that good, or do we need to do a little bit more work at a lower subdivision? Maybe reestablish some of that in subdivision 2 with the Damien standard. Oh, no symmetry. I don't want to make it super evident with the Damien standard, because that's not a very believable brush when it comes to creating deep wrinkles like that. As you can tell. I'm just creating some of these wrinkles right over here. Standard. Okay, that's good like that. Quick save that. Let's see what happens when we get it up to 4 again. Oh, that's pretty good. So let's start. Let's turn this back on. Recording mode. Sometimes you get wrinkles coming in this direction. Oh, come on now. I didn't like that one. Coming in this direction. I don't like that one either. See, I forgot about symmetry. While you're working on the outside, you have to keep in mind that you need to keep it up. What else? I think that is pretty good. I want to be able to get one right over here. And I'm gonna take that out. And let me use this the line style one. Get a little bit bigger. A lot of these are just, how do you call them, expression lines. And get one right over here, very slight one. That one usually is very evident when he raises his cheeks or squints. Same thing with these ones. There's some that come like this in this direction. Just like that. And those ones are always when there's wrinkling of the eye. Okay. I'm going to create these ones with no symmetry. I want to be able to sort of this side. As you can tell, I'm doing this all asymmetrically. Crisscrossing them. And I'm going to use that as smooth brush modifier to get my smooth brush a little bit smaller, so I'm not smoothing everything else around it. Sometimes these ones come out like that, and sometimes they go all the way to the nose. Although they're not very evident in younger folks, but they do start to create expression lines. Just like that. I go down, maybe again. There you go. There's another one right over here on the nose, usually. Ooh, there's a lot of geometry right there. Clay. We have a couple pinches right there. They're just really bothering me. There you go. And let's go back to our line style brush. I'm gonna save this because it's taking a while to save, so you know what to react to the stroke, so it's probably a good time to get it to save. Ooh, that's taking a while. Do not crash on me. Whatever you do. Oh, this is taking forever to move. And style brush. Oh, I think we're gonna have issues soon. No, don't like that. Don't like that because he's not doing any frowning right now, so I should just leave it like that. Okay, so we're gonna need a couple of cuts right here on the neck, and maybe this is a little too low. There you go, much better. So let's use line style brush with no symmetry. ZBrush does that sometimes. And these ones are better done at a lower subdivision because you want them fat. You want them to be thick and kind of deep, but it's better to do them at this level than to do them at a higher level, even though they're kind of not completely smooth. There's usually 2 lines. You may get a third one right over here depending on the individual. But at this age, mostly there's one right over there. And again, they're not a single line, not all the time. Like that. And you may get some on the side. Continuation like that. Just like that. You have also some in the back. Especially right over here at the base of the skull. There's a lot of movement there. And these ones tend to be deep. Again, depending on the age of the individual that you're trying to portray. This is all relative. In this one, you can use a little bit of clay tubes with no alpha. In very low intensity. That's even too strong. There you go. And just do a little bit in between and fade that out. Good. No. So like that. I just fill it in, just very slightly, just to create a little bit of a pillow effect on it. Same thing here. And just move them out. Just a little bit also right over here, just to raise that in between. Deepen them up a little bit. I'm hitting D again. Actually, I should have kept it at 3 because I forgot to put some wrinkles down here, so let me bring that to 3 again.